All right, welcome to Lecture 6. We finally made it. The thing that nobody really wants to talk about, feelings. My name is Landon Barrowman, and this is a Triskel production. Let's be real. Talking about emotions, it isn't easy, especially for men. But we've got to face the fact that our feelings affect everything around us. What we do, the choices we make, how we handle pressure. In the Working Man's Guide to Mental Health, I explain how this isn't really new information. Major advertisers already know how to manipulate our emotions. They use sex appeal or positive imagery to make you feel good about a product. You associate those good feelings of seeing Sydney Sweeney with all of a sudden this awesome new bath soap. Does it work? Hell yeah. You should check out my bathroom. I got tons of that stuff. And it goes the other way too. Think about political smear campaigns and horror movies or even music videos. Everything from lighting to sound and facial expressions, it can be used to stir an emotion. And once that emotion is stirred, it affects how you think and act. So here's the key point. If you don't know how your emotions are influencing you, someone else is going to use them against you. Whether it's advertisers, bosses, executives, or even just the stress of daily life, your emotions are going to start running the show, even if you're pretending they're not. Now I want to make something clear. Your boss might not be intentionally using your emotions against you. Same thing with other partners and things like that. But what I'm trying to say here is that if your emotions are running wild, they're working against you. Now, one of the first steps in taking back control of your emotions is this. Learn to recognize what you're actually feeling. And for that, I've included a tool in this book called the Feelings Wheel. So this thing is more useful than it looks. You need to trust me on this. This wheel breaks down emotions into layers. You've got core feelings in the center, like fear, anger, joy, sadness. And then you've got the sub feelings that branch out from there. Maybe you think you're mad, but when you look at it deeper, it's actually, you feel humiliated or jealous or ignored. So when you understand that, and then how it goes into the core feelings, that's when the real work starts. We're not all tough guys. We all go home at the end of the day and we sit with our thoughts and we have to see our real selves. There's no more mask, no more acting. It's just us and the weight of everything we're feeling. And if you don't know how to name those feelings, then you can't control them. That's why we say, name it to tame it, know it to control it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this feelings wheel and use it when you're doing your ABCD thought records. You're going to put it under C for consequences, because these feelings are a direct consequence of your beliefs. They're going to be the ones that you're deciding how, and you're seeing how your beliefs are causing feelings, and possibly how your feelings are also causing beliefs. So look at the full list of emotions and ask, what exactly am I feeling right now? The more you do it, the better you'll get. You'll start recognizing patterns. You'll catch your triggers, and you'll stop being blindsided in emotions you didn't even realize that you're having. This is what the lecture is all about. We're getting emotional literate here, because once you understand what's going on inside you, you can make better choices. You can stay calmer and, stop self-sabotaging. So I'm going to show you how to notice what your baseline is and how to assess your emotional state and your physical state in the moment. Because recognizing your feelings isn't just a mental game. It's about feeling it in your body. Feelings are literal feelings. You feel them. Thoughts, feelings. Very important to understand that distinction. Okay, so this is it. We're going to do a check-in, and I'm going to teach you how. This is a super useful tool. It's not even in the book. So consider it another little bonus that I'm throwing in these series. So this is for those moments when you're deep in your feelings, you're upset or you're stressed or something's just off and you don't even know why. We're going to pause and check in with ourselves. We're going to start with a breath. So breathe in, hold it, breathe out, hold it. Breathe in, hold it, Breathe out. Hold it. So this kind of thing you can do. It's just like box breathing. Hell, even do the box breathing that I showed you in previous lectures. And ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? Whatever comes up, let it come up. Don't overthink it. Don't deny it. That first emotion you feel, that's the truth. That's what you feel. That's what you need to understand and recognize. Next, we're going to do a body check. So what's going on with you physically? Are you tense? Are you sore? You feel restless? Did you have too much caffeine? Do you feel off? You just notice it. You can't fix what you don't acknowledge, so we have to acknowledge this here. Okay. Then ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? It could be something small. Maybe it was just a little hot coffee or the fact that you have money to buy that coffee. That matters. Appreciate it. Now ask, what are my needs today? Humans actually have very little needs. They need a place to sleep, they need food in their belly, and they need, a place to take a shit. That's pretty much it. Were those needs met today? If they weren't, what's going on? Is your life really that bad? Like, you're not sleeping under a bridge or, not going without. Then ask, how am I treating myself today? Am I being too harsh? Am I judging or criticizing myself? Am I obsessing over the future or stuck replaying some event from my past? Maybe you've been on your phone too much or you've been on social media and you're comparing yourself to others. So maybe you've been spiraling with anxiety. This stuff is important to recognize. So just ask yourself, how am I treating myself today? And here's another one. What are my goals today? Or even, what are my goals tomorrow? It doesn't have to be big, just one small thing. Maybe it's get through the day or be kinder to myself. If you've made those SMART goals, this is a great time to remind yourself of them. This whole check-in is about alignment. It's keeping your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors in sync. Because life throws us massive curveballs, man. Something small like a message from your ex or anything like that can completely derail you. You forget your morning routine and you'll spiral. I've done it and I've lost my footing, and it's hard. But doing a check-in, it can help you get back on track. It just lets you name what happened and it helps you see where things went sideways. And then you can understand it and pivot. This happens all the time, but when you use tools like this check-in, you can monitor it and check yourself back in to your own life. You'll start to stay centered and you'll act from reason, not from reaction. And you won't be emotionally hijacked so easily. Because at the end of the day, you want your thoughts, your clear, positive, reasonable thoughts to be running the show, not your emotions. All right, so you've identified the emotion and you've tried breathing, you've named it to tame it, you've done your check-in, so what's next? If you've used the feelings wheel and it's still loud, you're upset, and that's totally understandable. So here's another tool, and it's not in the book, but giving it you here in the video series, it's gonna help you with this. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. And this one's for when your emotions are still a little too strong and the other methods haven't worked. So this technique is especially helpful if you're feeling anxious, angry, overwhelmed, or emotionally flooded, and it helps you anchor yourself in the present moment, especially if you're worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. So let's walk through it. We're going to start with 5 things we can see. Name them in your head. Just 5 things around the room. 5 objects, 5 people, whatever it is. Name them in your head. They could be a cloud, the color of your socks, whatever you want. Count 5 of them. Next, it's going to be 4 things that you can feel. This one's a little trickier, but if you focus, you can get it. You feel your feet on the floor, feel your pants against your leg. Maybe you just rub your fingers together so you can touch your own skin or touch the fabric of your shirt. Feel your breath in your chest. It can be anything like that. It can even be emotions. Maybe you feel anger or upset or anxious or anything above. Next, 3 things you can hear. So stop and listen. Just really listen. You might hear the hum of a fridge or your own breathing, or maybe even distant traffic or a bird or anything. Even if it's just silence, try to hear it. Next thing, try 2 things you can smell. It doesn't matter if you can't smell 2 things. You might only be able to smell air or maybe your armpit or your hair. I got lots of it. It smells good most of the time. But either way, try 2 things you can smell. Finally, 1 thing you can taste. Is there a taste in your mouth right now? Is it saliva, old coffee, gum, toothpaste from earlier? It doesn't matter what it is. Just acknowledge it. And that's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Why it works is this process takes you out of your racing thoughts and it plants you back into the present moment. That's what grounding is. It says, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm now. Because anxiety is usually about the future and depression is usually about the past. Anxiety is literally worried about something we don't know about yet. We're trying to prepare for something and it's making us anxious. Depression, a lot of the time, is thinking about the past mistakes, past things that have happened, things we can't change that are bumming us out. So this grounding technique works by putting you in the now, which is the only place that you can change any of this. Peace is found in the present moment, and grounding brings you back. It brings you home. So use this whenever you need it. Well, that pretty much wraps up this entire session. But before we close, I want to leave you with a few important reminders. If you're feeling bad and you're dealing with overwhelming emotions, you can challenge those negative thoughts. Ask yourself, am I making assumptions? And how likely is the thing I'm worried about to actually happen? What would I say to a friend who came to me with the same problem I'm thinking about constantly? Just step outside yourself and try to reframe that thought. Don't forget to use your thought records. Think, what are the other possible outcomes of this? If you're going to worry about it, don't just imagine the worst thing. Imagine best case scenarios too. Balance that thought. There could be other ways to look at this. Always, I think, will this still matter in 6 months? That's a big one. My father used to say that to me all the time. When I'd be worried about shit and pissed off, he'd literally look at me and just say, think about it this way. In 6 months, will any of this matter? What are you going to be doing? Are you going to even give a fuck about this? Most of the time, he was right. Now, finally, I want to touch on something really important. Avoidance. So avoidance gets a bad rap, but not all avoidance is denial. If you're avoiding going to the doctor because you're scared to face health, that's denial. That can harm you. But if you're avoiding people who make you feel like crap, that's self-preservation. You don't have to put yourself in situations that drain your energy or make you feel like shit. That's not denial, that's boundaries. And it's a huge part of feelings. You can write an email instead of making a phone call to someone you don't want to talk to. You can stay at home instead of going out into toxic bars or bad environments that you don't want to go to if your friends are going to them. Just ask yourself, is this where I want my energy to go right now? Normalize saying no to chaotic nonsense. That's setting a boundary and it's going to help your feelings stay preserved. And it's a super important part of feelings. Well, that's it for this lecture. And we've covered some powerful tools today. Emotional awareness, grounding techniques, how to take back control, boundaries. Look at you. You're learning all these therapeutic words from a guy in the oil sands with hair this long. Next up is lecture 7. This one, we're going to dive into some somatic quieting and the science of calming down your nervous system and setting your emotional level. So I'm going to see you there. I'm Landon Barrowman, and this is a Triskel production. Thank you so much.